Welcome to the Cancer Journey Show.
Yay! It's been a while. It's been a
Yeah.
minute, as the cool people say. Um, so we're rejoining you after a bit of a hiatus, and hopefully you were able to, if it was helpful for you, to watch our last video on a little bit more background on the why and the how and the who and the what of this company. But just to give you a thumbnail sketch.
We are the nation's first cancer coach training company, and we are also the first training company focused on cancer coaches with the International Coaches Federation. So we're very proud of both of those, and we want you to know this because we've been around. We've been around the block. We started in 2012. We're almost at our 10-year anniversary, which is very exciting for us. And so why I say that is because we know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And the reason why, yeah, go ahead, Carrie.
Oh, I was just going to say, we know it firsthand and we know it from a business standpoint. I mean, we've talked to hundreds, maybe even thousands of cancer patients, caregivers, and survivors. And so there's that. But then we've also had our own personal cancer journeys.
Right. We're both now cancer survivors as well as cancer caregivers. So we have those, as Carrie says, that's our cancer resume.
Right.
For today, for this episode, we're going to have our guest client, Dr. Melanie Dunlap. Dr. Melanie is a naturopathic doctor, and she's also going through a recurrence of her breast cancer. What's wonderful is that she's allowed us to have her here on this show so that you could get a firsthand glimpse of what cancer journey coaching is like, speaking to somebody who's actively going through their cancer journey.
Exactly. So because that's what I was going to say, is that the reason that we have this show is so that you can see that, because sometimes when you watch somebody else get coached, you get coached. So you might benefit from this. You will probably relate to darling Dr. Melanie. And it's also a way of saying, oh, maybe this process of coaching isn't so scary, or maybe that's something I actually want to do. So if you fall into any of those categories, welcome. Or even if you don't, welcome.
And thank you for joining us. So let's bring in Dr. Melanie Dunlap. Melanie, will you join us? There you go. And today's coach is Carrie. So I'm going to disappear in just a moment and let you guys have your conversation, your coaching session. All right. I'll see you on the other side.
Okay. Hi, Melanie.
Hi.
So you want to start with Pesh?
Yes. So physically, I'm a 7, emotionally 5, spiritually 8, hope is a 9.5.
And what's a word or couple words that describe you in this moment?
The word that came up was untethered.
Untethered. Yeah, good one. And is that what you want to be coached about today, or what do you want to be coached about?
I think it's really about the fear.
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole lot of fear, and in this case, it's coming from a lot of different areas. This is my second time. This is my second time for breast cancer. It is in the same breast. So there's a little bit of, I know the routine, but then I don't.
Right.
Because the routine is so much harder in the midst of a COVID crisis.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, I know the drill, but I don't know the drill.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so, that, and there's also the maybe it feels like a stigma to me. How did this happen again?
Right. What
And
did I do wrong?
yes. And as a naturopath, it affects everything in my life, right?
Yeah.
I should be this. Who should I tell? What are people going to think? Right. So just addressing that fear, because it tends to get up and get away with you.
Yes.
You
Yes.
know,
So it's like it's almost distracting you from your healing process because you're having to process all that other stuff about what you were just saying. Just
yeah,
who do I tell and how did this happen? And should I focus on how did this happen? And should I focus on who to tell? Should I not focus on any of those? But they're swimming around.
yes, yes. I find myself wishing clarity, you know, in lots of different things, but that seems to be what I come back to. I wish I could get some clarity on this. I wish I could know what is the right thing to do. You know, in the middle of a cancer journey, there's so many questions and things to think about, and you know, should I do this? Should I didn't do that? It's
You don't want to look back on this and regret it, like, oh shit, why didn't I think of that, or why didn't I do this?
well, and I find myself doing that because it's a recurrence, right? And so I almost feel like I don't trust myself as much this time.
Mm-hmm. Right. The stuff you knew last time, it's like, what do I know?
Yeah.
Even though I'm a naturopath and I've got all this training and I know about cancer and I've been through it. It's now I doubt everything.
Yes.
So it's called everything into question.
And it spills over into all the other areas of life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's really, which we were already kind of in a pause, but it's giving me even more pause of, well, what do I know? What can I trust about myself?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's not just, it's fear, but sounds like perpetuated by this feeling of this way that I used to trust myself, like this gal I used to trust. I don't know how much I can trust that or her anymore.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so that keeps me up. and there's so much unknown, you know, and I've been having some challenges along the way. It hasn't been the my first go around was, I hate to say it, but easier.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was kind of pretty much cut and dried, and you know, we get in, we have, well, I did have to have 3 surgeries. So when you think about it, it wasn't quite as easy as you think. But
it's that whole thing of we forget certain things, you know, like, oh, it didn't seem that bad, you know, because you're looking back at it.
Yeah.
But, so how do you experience this emotion of feeling like you can't trust? It sounds like you feel like you don't have anything solid to hold on to in a certain sense. Like you said, untethered. So how do you experience that emotion?
I experience it as almost what I would term as a freezing. Like I can't do anything, right? I can't move forward. I struggle to make decisions. You know, because I have this mistrust. I'm not going to say I don't trust it at all, but I have this mistrust piece.
Yes. So it's fight, flight, or freeze, and you're in freeze.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's just this visceral response to it.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And it sounds like it might be paralyzing on some level.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. And even not just mentally and emotionally, but physically.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want to get up and go do that thing. I you know, I'll just sit here, which is not good when you're going through treatment either, right? I need to be up and doing things, which I make myself do, but I don't
feel safe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
and it's making like future plans, or anything that's down the road is just too hard to wrap my head around.
Yeah.
Right.
So what it feels like it might be helpful for us to work with one little thing that you're scared of doing or something. I'm not sure, but that's something we could look at just to kind of walk you up to it and see if we can deal with some of the fear there, or just look at the fear in general. What feels like you would like to, what would you like to get out of this session? I mean, you don't usually ask that, but what would be helpful?
Some movement on that fear, I think, is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, as soon as that come out of my mouth, I'm like, maybe not, because one of the things I know is a cancer journey tool is actually looking at the cancer.
Yeah.
And as I'm sitting here talking to you, I'm realizing I've not had a conversation with that.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah.
Never really, okay, what's here?
And do you feel like kind of willing and curious, it sounds like, to do that now?
Yeah, I guess with your help I am, because I wasn't before.
Yeah, no, that's not something you want to do by yourself necessarily.
True. Yeah.
So if I'm here holding your hand and we're going to call in your guides and counselors and have that, see if there's any, like, I think that's a brilliant idea, Melanie. It's brilliant.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So let's just take a deep breath and another. And then just tune into your sweet body and just keep thinking about your breath that comes and goes, whether you think about it or not. It's there to support you. And just imagine a staircase in front of you. And I'm going to count down from 5 to 1. And when we get to 1, you'll be in a very, very safe, beautiful place in nature. 5, 4, going deeper. 3, still deeper. 2, starting to sense that safe place. And 1. 1. You can just let yourself smell the smells, hear the sounds, open your senses, feel the earth. And off in the distance, first of all, you feel very, very safe here. This is very, very safe territory. And off in the distance, you see a light that comes closer, and you feel it as you experience love as it comes close to you. It's a very comforting, amazingly warm, even familiar presence. And this is your higher self. She's like a guardian angel to you, and she's going to accompany you as you have this invited conversation. So she comes and takes you by the hand, and you walk with her to another beautiful place. You step outside the boundaries of your safe place, and you go to another beautiful place. This is like a neutral place, but you still feel safe because she's holding your hand, and she finds a place for you to sit. And you do. And she goes behind you and puts her hands on your shoulders and squeezes your shoulders. I'm here, I'm not going anywhere. And she asks you, are you ready to have this conversation? And you think, I guess so, as ready as I'll ever be. And you see, once again, off in the distance, you see a shape this time. And it's kind of blobby. It starts to come closer to you. And as it gets closer, it personifies. And you just notice, what are they wearing? What do they seem like? Are they dressed fancy? Are they dressed raggedy? What do you notice about them? And then you telepathically invite them to come and sit with you. Just notice how they move, notice how you feel in their presence. And then they introduce themselves as your Cancer. So you ask them, what do you need? Actually, what you ask is, what do I need to know about why you're here? Or just, maybe they don't have the answer to that, but maybe they know. You can ask them, what do you have to tell me? And they might answer with words, and they might answer with a sound or a color or a symbol or anything, but just notice. So just sit with them and ask them those questions or whatever questions you want to, and just pay attention to what happens. Remember, your higher self is with you, and so am I. And once again, your higher self squeezes your shoulders, telling you, for now, it's time for us to come back. But you can summon this being whenever you need to, whenever you want to, if you want to. So they put their arms around you from behind and tell you to close your meditative eyes, and then you sense your safe place once again. And when you open your meditative eyes, you are there. And you turn around to find the staircase once again. And there it is. So you take the steps in reverse. 1, 2, 3, coming back. 4, wiggling your fingers and toes. Taking another breath, as you so astutely did earlier. And 5. And when you're ready, just open your eyes gently and return to this space and time. So what do you want to say about any of that?
What I found out was it was about me recognizing my own strength.
Wow.
Because I did, from my perspective, kind of sail through the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And I even put, and I know this about me, I did the whole comparison game. Oh, I didn't have it that bad. Mm-hmm. And I even I felt guilty for taking up space.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
No, I didn't have it that bad. It wasn't that bad. There's other people that need the time and the attention more than I do.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's so, I can so relate to it, and it's so painful.
Yeah.
So so what I'm hearing almost is like, you get do-overs. You get to be loving with yourself.
Yeah, I do now. Because it hasn't made any sense as to why I had to go through this again. Because I thought I was paying attention the first time.
Yeah.
I really did. And I shared, I shared and I blogged and I told people and all that. And this time I don't even want to do that. Like
Yeah.
it's always, everything's fine. I mean, people know, it's kind of hard not to. My community does know, but I'm reluctant to ask for help.
Interesting.
And people do it anyway, but I'm reluctant to ask for it.
I understand. So I'm just wondering, with this new knowledge, how does that translate into anything? What does it motivate in you? What does it touch in you? What does it change?
It makes me want, and it's a weird way to say it, but the thing that comes to mind is it makes me want to stand in front now.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Just, and I don't know exactly what that means, but that was the picture that came to my head. Okay, you can stand up front now.
Yeah.
You can get this out of this. You can get that strength and learn to stand in that.
Yeah, I'm thinking about the 4 perspective, or the 4 phases of awareness, and it sounds like you felt like you felt at the effect of it, so it was feeling more like victim. But instead of going to warrior to stand out front, it's like I'm in the big picture. I can see, like I have a different view. I have a bigger picture of this.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I have to say that's been a little bit of struggle for me, because I have someone I know that I absolutely adore. She's an amazing woman. When I first met her, one of the things she told me, she said, I never fight against things. She said, I won't go to an anti-war rally. I'll go to a peace rally.
Right.
So I've had a little bit of internal struggle, because there's a piece of me that wants to grab onto that warrior piece and say, I'm here and I'm going to fight this.
Yes.
But then energetically, it doesn't line up with that. And it almost makes me feel like I'm not doing anything.
Right. I know what you mean.
I'm supposed to fight this.
Right.
But yeah, so I get a little bit conflicted there. But like you said, I didn't step into warrior. I stepped into, okay,
what's the big
I'm out front.
Yeah. And what can you see from big picture?
Actually, from here, I can see the connection of all of it, like how the first occurrence is connected to this occurrence, and then whatever comes in the future is connected to this too, whatever that may be.
I'm hearing a lot, even more, if it's not completely there yet, I'm hearing acceptance and just having that wisdom of the bigger picture is comforting.
Yes, it is definitely comforting, for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we need to wrap up our session for now, but what do you feel like is your takeaway from this, my darling?
I feel much more grounded.
More grounded.
Yeah. Oh, that's perfect compared to my untethered piece. Didn't even think about that.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even, but I do. I feel, dare I say, a little bit more in control.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you feel like you're more in your power, is what I'm hearing. Like you took the power back and you're more at choice. You're not paralyzed. It's not about, oh, did I do the right thing or the wrong thing or whatever. It's like, I have choice.
Yes.
I have choice in every moment. and I know what this is about, and it sounds like you feel more resourced.
Yes, that's a good word too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Great. So your word is grounded. And is there any sort of practice or any, like, not really homework, but homework, for lack of a better word? Is there anything that you want to do to keep this in the forefront as you're in the forefront, or what will help?
What I feel is that picture of standing in front,
Mm-hmm.
that really that I am standing in front of this.
Beautiful.
Because it almost feels like I've not put it behind me like it's past, but you got to stand behind me. You're not the stronger piece of this.
I'm driving this.
Yes.
I'm the advocate. I am in charge, and I'm a damn good leader, and I know how to ask for help. And is help in the mix?
Yes, as much as is possible in this day and age.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Well, you reached out to us.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you reached back. So beautiful, sweetie.
And it's a
Congratulations.
perfect place to stop.
Yes.
Thank you, Melanie.
Thank you.
Wow. Wow. I could see a shift in you just looking at you.
Yes. I
I
can
can
feel
feel the groundedness, but I also feel kind of like the light of you shining through.
Thank you.
'Cause
And thank you for being here.
Oh,
We are honored. So I'm going to ask you to close your video, and we're going to wrap up over here at the show. So thank you, Carrie. That was lovely. And I love the fact that we got to bring out a couple of the tools from the Cancer Journey Institute. There was the guided imagery of meeting your cancer, which is very powerful and yes, very scary. So knowing that you get to go there with her, or she has you with her as she goes to meet this amorphous being until she has a relationship with it. That was, it was exciting to hear.
and it's
over here.
so wonderful to feel, because Melanie knows so much, but it's like, it doesn't matter. When we get diagnosed with cancer, or especially re-diagnosed, we feel like we're victims. We're being victimized by this damn disease. Right. So I just felt her compassion come in, and also just her power rush in, like, she doesn't have to do it any certain way. And she's got confidence now, and
Right.
now she's done. And because we'll offer more coaching to her as time goes on, but for now.
And I loved the bringing in of the 4 phases where she could actually find herself and get grounded in, oh, where am I in this moment? And then you could see her get to this other place called the big picture, and then embracing it all and having space to have it all. And that was just, again, besides meeting her cancer, lovely to see where she was standing, where she was choosing. And then just the phrase, I'm out in front. I get goosebumps right now. What a wonderful touchstone. What a wonderful tether to hold her here in her power.
Yes, exactly. It's gorgeous.
Right.
I feel so grateful. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah. So that's just our little kind of commentary after the coaching, so that you can see what we saw happen within the coaching, and the tools that were used, in addition to our basic, PESH, which is the kind of our opener and grounder for being in this moment. We are now doing these shows once a month, so stay tuned for the next one at the top of the following month, and we will have another guest client. In the meantime, if you feel moved to have a coaching session with one of our Cancer Journey coaches, please go to our website, which is cancerjourney.com. And right there, you can see how to get a free coaching call. If you want to be a guest client on this show, please send us an email to info@thecancerjourney.com. And if you're being tickled to be interested in cancer journey coach training, please go to our website. We've got some workshops coming up, and we'd love to have you there also.
Yes, and we just love to hear from you. So thank you for joining us today. And remember, you are more powerful than you realize.
Bye for now. We'll see you again soon.
Blessings.